also drawing perspective from the Word of God as we also engage special guests with us. And today, we thank God for another beautiful day. I have with me, of course, JC too.
Good so happy to be here.
Good day. Happy New Year to you.
Same to you.
Oh, great. And as usual, we have a special guest seated with us here. On my right is Pastor Olamide Olariwaju. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
And on my left is our very own Pastor Isaac Kolaoli. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, thank you.
Great to have you. So, it's January, and our theme for January is taking a deep dive into the work environment. And the theme is how to thrive in a hostile work environment, right? Our work is where we have to go almost every day. And to be able to navigate a hostile work environment requires understanding, requires a whole lot. And that is why we have dedicated the month of January to see how we can engage and, of course, draw perspective from the Word of God and also draw wisdom from our special guest. And I believe that today is going to be great. Jessica, please take it over.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are trying our best to take it from both perspectives, right? We're trying to take it from the employer and the employee that finds themselves in a hostile work environment. And we don't really go into too much detail so that our guests have the opportunity to give us the juicy things. But we are trying to, first of all, how do I know that I'm in a hostile work environment, right? What are the effects it will have on me, and what are the ways I can successfully navigate that? So I might have to throw it back to Mr. K for the very first question to open the floor. Thank you.
Let me start with Pastor Olamide. When we say hostile work environment, what are we talking about?
Oh, thank you. When the word hostile means something that is not friendly. So when we talk about hostility, we talk about first who you are, and then why what you have is not being accepted where you are. Then we can now start drawing definition of hostility and the kind of hostility that we experience day by day.
Pastor Isaac, what about you? If you were to describe a hostile work environment, especially from your years of experience, how would you describe a hostile work environment?
Thank you. If you're looking at the word hostile environment, like Pastor Olariwaju said, an hostile environment is an environment that is not friendly. Especially you're having an idea and you're getting it, and you know it's this idea that can benefit such environment, and you're not given opportunity or not accepted. Are you getting it? So such environment can be called to be hostile. But in looking at it, some environment can be hostile to you and be friendly to me.
Okay, I like this.
Some can be hostile to me and be friendly to you, depending on where you are coming from. I'm not talking of a particular place. I'm talking of your idea. So that's what so when your idea is not being accepted in a place, you can call such a place an hostile environment.
I think the next question then will be that if no matter where I am coming from, when it comes to work, what kind of person should I be? I think I'll be right. Okay, so we understand that it's a place, a hostile work environment is not friendly, right? But regardless of the unfriendliness or whatever, if I'm coming or going to work, what kind of person should I be naturally?
Okay, going to work, be kind of a person that you are. Okay, let me quickly share this story. Some years ago, I found myself working somewhere, and in fact, the organization is literally owned by somebody who is a minister in a very, very popular denomination in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. So I felt like, okay, being a Christian and these people are Christians, so definitely things should go well for me as a Christian. We all should understand the basic principle. Not until one day the student, they did exam, they failed. And the superior called me and said, "Sir, I know you are a kind of godly person, but here they don't fail." So here they don't fail. And I said, well, if you remember, sir, I do want them that they should do everything they need to do so that they can pass. I'm talking about secondary school. But They just called me and said, well, they don't feel. You know what happened next? Because I stood with my conviction, I lost the job.
Wow.
I don't know if that should answer your question, but I think it should give us a jumping ground to start today's discussion.
Okay, I'm very glad that we've been able to identify, first of all, what a hostile work environment is. So now that maybe as an employee, I've recognized, okay, my workplace is becoming toxic. That's the first step. I've recognized it. So what is the next stage for me to confront that without, overreacting or feeling like I'm stepping some toes I shouldn't step? How do I address and confront the individuals involved without blowing things out?
That we all believe as people of the same faith. So if you are talking about toxic environment, I think there are different types of toxic environment. Toxic environment, like Pastor Kola rightly said, could be that they did not accept your ideas. Your ideas does not literally mix with your religion. It's two different things.
Okay.
It could be that what you are doing, probably the way you are discharging your duty, it's not a system they are aware of.
Okay.
There could be toxicity in that area too, or it could be that the way you address issues too, it could be in such a way that it looks confronting. You experience toxicity in that area too. So I think if you are talking about something is toxic, I think you need to give us you need to be specific on what you really mean by a place being toxic. Is it based on religion, or is it based on principle, or based on you just have to have like an addendum so that we can know what we are working with.
Okay, let me give an example of maybe discrimination based on gender. And the person has realized that, okay, I'm not giving as much jobs as my male counterparts, something like that. And you're feeling very left behind. How do I navigate that type of situation?
Okay, thank you. But so far I've been working for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
I've been practicing on my own field as an IT person. But there's one thing I get to realize. Nobody discriminates excellence. Believe me.
Okay.
Nobody discriminates excellence. If you are very good in what you do, very, very good, even if they don't like you, they still make use of you. I'm telling you from over 10 years experience working in my field. They don't need to like you. But so far you are the best person for the job, you still be relevant there.
So we are getting a feel already that while there may be toxicity in a work environment, the level of value also bring to the table also matters. And I think we're still going to get to that. Still talking about toxicity, you made mention of the fact that toxicity can, is it based on what now? Is it based on principle, based on religion? So my question is that, and of course, I also realize that toxicity has just as every story has two sides.
Yeah.
Right? My employer can say you are too difficult as an employee.
Yeah.
I, as an employee, can also come and say, man, that employer is just difficult.
Yeah.
And so we are like at against each other.
Yeah.
But how should we actually see things? How should we actually see things?
In leadership and management, there's what we call ladder of influence. Now, what does this mean? When you have issues with A, everything you are going to do in that system, your interpretation comes from the ladder of influence. From that perspective of the fact that you have had something with this person. So every interpretation you are going to give, it will be based on your own premise. So first thing is, remove the ladder of influence. If you have issues with A, in my office, if I have issues with you, tomorrow I will greet you. You don't need to like me. And I will tell you that the reason why I had issues with you is because that is just based on the job.
Okay.
It's based on the job. So outside the job, you did not do anything wrong to me.
So there's a need to separate the
job from your emotions.
Personal emotions.
You need to just separate it. If not, nobody will prosper in the organization.
True.
But you know what our people do? Our people say because A has offended me or the job, they take it as a personal thing. And when they see A, they believe A is the devil and A will die on the job. Our Christians brother go home to go and pray and commit that person as a difficult person in prayer, not willing to see. So that's just how I see it. See from the person's perspective. This is what I do. I say, if I'm in this person's position, how will I take this? Myself and Pastor Kola, we have worked in the same place before, at least for about 5 years that I worked there with him. Anytime I'm boiling, I don't get angry every day. Yes, it's not every day. Once in a while. But that once in a while, I'm always so furious. But before I do anything naughty, you know what I do? I go to him. Before I do anything naughty that I'm going to regret, I'll go to him and I'll say, this is what the leader has done to me. And in fact, I want to resign. So, you know, he calls me and says, okay, Pastor, this is it. Can we not see it from this side? No matter how angry I am, that's the end. Because even me, when I begin to put in emotions, it will remind me how we need to separate emotions from the job.
I'd like to direct this to Pastor Isaac, and I'm hoping that this doesn't get lopsided. Let's talk about employers. We're still going to get to the part of the employee, and it's also good that we've been able to establish that when you come to work as an employee, separate your emotions from the job. When you come to your workplace, do your work and go back home. Whatever issues happen there, you agree that that's like sort of workplace hazard. And you leave it there, you go home a happy person. But so let's look at employer. Have you ever had to deal with a very difficult employer where there's hardly anything that you want to do that ever makes sense?
Yes, in a way. But you know, where I worked when I first joined the organization, there's this boss, the person that is like the head of that particular organization. I used to have issues with her, and just because the way we see things are very different. Are you getting me? I am a Christian, born again. Are you getting me?
Capital letter.
Yes, capital letter. And here I have a boss who is not a born again. So each time we used to fight. So there was this guy that called me. I said, Mr. Caller, please, you can't be doing this. Can we just talk? And ever since that time, anytime this my boss is doing something that I know is not something that is going down well with me, I just try to put myself in her shoe, and I will go and at least not 100%, excuse me, even not 100%, at least in a way think like she thinks, just for me to, and that really helped me, really helped me, such that after this person left, every other person that came into that office to date, we have best of friends. Why? Because of the way, like sometimes we cannot see, I can't see everything the way you see things, everything you see, but I should try to see, okay, you are my boss. What if I am the boss? There's something I used to tell my colleagues. I say, okay, they say, our boss is saying this, we should do this. I will now ask, if you are that boss, will you have asked us to do it? Then the person will pause and look at it. It's good. But the way, now, it's not fighting because that our boss wanted us to do this. He will now say, I don't like the way you wanted us to do it. Okay. You know, it has changed. Are you getting us? Okay, if that is the case, how do you think it should be? So for me, I have worked with someone who is very hostile, who is but we have to deal with them, trying to put ourselves in their shoes. and say, okay, if I am the one, how am I going to handle this issue? And it's all because all of us, we can't see things the same way.
Definitely.
We see things different, even in marriage. Do you know? Okay, we are talking about hostile work environment. What about hostile family environment? Are you getting? So the way you deal with human being, even at work, you can also apply it when you get to the family. So I've worked with hostile boss, and you have to deal with them the way they are, so that you won't be fighting.
Thank you, sir. So I want to take it from the POV of the employer now. Maybe we have some business owners watching this, entrepreneurs, and I never want to become a boss that enables a hostile work environment. I never want to become a boss that stands by while that is going on. So what measures can I take as a business owner, as an employer, to ensure that there's fairness, to ensure that my workplace doesn't become a hostile one?
First thing, there's nothing like fairness. Forget it.
Okay.
You are not selling ice cream. If you have an organization and you want fairness, you will not make profit. You will lose. You will not get any respect.
Whoa.
Because every system that enhances transformation, we always have different oppositions. So, in that regard, to some people, the system will be a toxic one. For example, now, I don't want to self-develop. I don't want to grow. You own the business. You want the opposite of what I want. So what will happen to me in that system?
You feel choked up.
Thank you. And what will I do?
You want to leave.
I will leave.
Yeah.
So for everyone who have a business, who have an organization, you can't totally rule it out.
Okay.
And another instance why I said there cannot be fairness is this. There are some staffs that are so committed to the mission and vision statement of the organization. You have no choice than to favor them once a while. What will happen to the lazy ones that is lagging behind? What lesson? What can that person see? To see that, okay, why should I? Okay, there is in business management, I learned there's what we call classical reward punishment. Yeah, it's also it's been borrowed from psychology to teach business students. Now, classical reward punishment means that, okay, if somebody should do something that is very wrong, you correct that person by using punishment as a reward system to make that person see reasons why they should not do that same thing again. And we have one that is opposite. That is training somebody with a particular thing they are seeing every time, such a way that if you do fellowship in your house, 6 o'clock, even if you did not hear that bell at that 6 o'clock, what will you do? You will stand up. So if you have an organization, there is no way you want to rule out fairness. You can't rule it out. And another thing is the issue of you don't want the environment to get toxic. It will choke. Why? Because when you raise your standard high, it will filter some people away. It is system that filter people away. So there are different depths and aspects of that if we are to go there for people who own an institution, a business or organization. The truth is, it can't be ruled out except we want to lie.
So, thank you for that, because I was about to ask that when we enter into an organization or when someone enters into an organization and it sort of feels toxic, whose responsibility is it to ensure that things don't get out of hand? And I'm saying this because I've seen some terrible things happen in the workplace, especially team members to team members, worker to worker, and I'm hoping to come there very soon, worker to worker, because we've spoken about the employee, because there are some times when you want to work and there's this other person that just can't that just can't take your probably level of excellence, and they're just disgusted by you, whatever. But when we enter into an organization and there is toxicity or a work environment is hostile, first of all, who should we hold accountable, and whose responsibility is it to ensure that things at least can be kept at the barest minimum?
Thank you. The first thing I learned early in life, I learned corporate politics. I learned it early in life. So when I get to a system, I look at the ruling parties. Okay.
That's true.
Okay.
Very, very true.
So, currently I work in a financial institution. When I got to the office, I saw the ruling classes. So what do? I brace up my own game. I study every day. I study what? Every day. I have a slogan. I want to become a deciding factor anywhere. Trust me, that's my slogan. And you know what? I became it. It's not magic. So when everybody complains, this place is... I have no reason to go with your philosophy. Till now. I have never had any reason. When they say a place is toxic, when you get to a new organization, people will feed you different information.
Yes.
You know what I found out about those information? They were not always true. In the sense that, okay, somebody was angry and said, this thing is choking. I said, okay, when you came to this organization, what was the negotiation? This one told me. I asked them, what was the negotiation? They all told. I found out that they all got the negotiation on the edge of being desperate. So what did I do? Me, I up my game. I've never been desperate, and I know that being desperate doesn't do anything for me. Even at the slightest moment that I know that I'm in need of this thing, I will never present myself to you as being desperate. In fact, I'll still be negotiating on the high value. Till date, I've lost job. Yes. I really go for interview and miss. Trust me. For over 10 years of my career, I don't fail. I really fail interview. I really fail. If they don't pick me on that interview, probably because my negotiation doesn't work with them.
Okay.
I really fail. Why? Because I have learned all this system. I know how it works. And once I get there and enter, I look at the ruling class. I join the ruling class.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so this ruling class, what is it that they do that is different?
Thank you. This is what the ruling class do. The ruling class believe that they are the leaders. And they believe that they are the decision makers.
Yes.
And you can't fight them. You will lose. I know if I fight you, I will lose. I will lose plenty of things. I will serve you. I will serve you with utmost excellence. And you bring me to the table yourself. So it will become so obvious that you will say I'm looking master's boot. It's not true. Because
okay.
if
I was about to get to
because
that.
if you get to what I can do, even you will say if he's my brother, I will allow him to be in that position. Okay, let me just divert a bit. When I was appointed as the personal assistant to the current chairman of Oyo State, he was the first person I told. I said, Pastor Kola, I've been appointed. I said, I don't have any experience because it requires interfacing with government a lot. Commissioners, I deal with all of them. I said, I don't have idea. I said, I don't even know why I'm being appointed. He said something. He said, God have a purpose for you in that place. I said, no matter what you do, you must remember that as an apostle in the marketplace, there is a reason you may not know now, I may not know now. But you know what? In about 3 years, I relate with governor, I relate with commissioners, different set of people in government. And if you think that my word will not count in this Oyo State, we can start it. Many times he knows. There was a time governor did something that I write. So I was the one who wrote it. I wrote a rebuttal. People called me and threatened me from government. Now where do you see that small boy? That guy is too harsh. How could you rise something against government? Nothing happened. I look at the ruling class. I was given opportunity. And the opportunity showed the potentials. And that has been the way I live my life.
Pastor Lauren, what you're giving some excellent advice on, when you're in a new workplace, it's good to study the dynamics, figure out what's going on and align yourself. But I've noticed that many times Christians try to run away from any semblance of politics or, playing the game. Why do you think that is? And how can we, take off that mindset and do better?
Okay. Well, let me tell you a story. Some months ago, the camp chairman went on a live radio during an interview and he said all Christians should participate in politics. And after I said that, the next thing, a big man of God in Oyo State issued a public statement that if I see any of my member in politics.
Wow.
But you know what? We went again. Till now, we still write about it. Because you cannot survive anywhere without understanding the political terrain of that place.
Oh, okay.
If you want to change Nigeria, you don't change Nigeria by Bible in this century. You change Nigeria by living out the Bible. Live it out in the bank. Live it out in the school. Live it out in government. Live it out everywhere. So if you are living out the Bible, you will understand that politics is core thing at the heartbeat of every Christian, including the corporate politics. You must understand that fact.
So please, I want to also announce that there's room for comments, questions. If you have questions, please drop it in the comment section. We'll be waiting for you. We're waiting to receive you. And if you also have any comments, we'll be reading it. Mr. Josh, I don't know if you have any question. Okay, all right. How to get your thoughts on this, Pastor Isaac? Worker to worker now. And I'm saying this because this is I can relate to it very well. And I also want to get deeper understanding. Worker to worker. You just have people that are difficult. I know you made mention of ruling class, but they are just your fellow workers that are difficult. They are difficult. When there's a task to be done, you have a roadmap already of how you want to do it. Yes, I'm not saying that there won't be difference in the approach, but you can tell that this one is not just ready to do anything. And of course, because the organization has to mark you based on the performance you have with them, it becomes difficult. How do you navigate that?
Yeah, for me, I've been there several times, especially when you're asked to chairman a particular committee that the task is given to you. You're getting it. When you have to share, and you have to do this thing. For me, one thing I have learned from one of my senior at work is, we call him Uncle Milo. It's late now. If he's going to ask us to do something, you know what he will do? He will start doing it first. He will start to do that thing first. So when you see him doing it, you are not born well to say you won't do. Though we still have some people who are very hostile, who will say no. But like what I'm bringing out of this is you lead by example. Are you getting it? When you lead by example, Pastor used to tell us something. When you are doing the right thing and you keep doing the right thing, one day somebody who is very hostile will say, let me join this person. Are you getting me? You keep doing the right thing and you keep, there's a way you can get into people's hearts. The other time you ask him about politics. Politics is everywhere. There's no place you get to, there's no organization you get to that you not see politics there. Like he said, when you get to that organization, first thing is to learn the politics of that place, or else you fail. When you learn the politics of that place, it will help you to carry people along. It will help you to carry people along, in that assignment that is given to you. So one of the things you need to know is that when you have a colleague who is very hostile, who will not agree with whatever you are doing, who will not agree with whatever good suggestion, are you getting me? I think the first thing you should do is to ask him what is his own opinion. Something happened today. There's this thing we call quantitative reasoning. in mathematics, as in elementary mathematics. So I gave my pupils that assignment yesterday to do. And quantitative, you can use 1 or 2, 3 formulas to get an answer. So I was teaching them. There was this girl. She said, "Uncle, no, that formula is not right." I said, "Okay, in here I understand. Can you just give me 5 minutes to finish with this? Then you come out and come and tell us your own idea." Oh, she said, "Okay." I finished. I got all the answers. So when she came, I gave her the marker. Solve it for her. Let's see. Then she was saying, "For me, I use multiplication and division." Then she says, "No, let's use fraction to solve this." So she started. She used fraction for the first one. She mixed it up. But I know using fraction for that particular thing, we were still going to get the same answer. Her issue was that she did it upside down. And that's okay. You know what? Clap for yourself for doing this. She said, "Okay, thank you, sir. But this is how you do it." Sometimes you allow people to express themselves. Sometimes you allow them to say their mind. Then you can correct. When they are saying it, you will see the shortcoming. You see the areas of errors or the errors in those things. Then you can come from that angle to show them this is how to do it. There's no need of fighting them. There's no need of arguing with them. All you need just understand them. Then bring your point. You get them convinced.
Still on this idea of toxic co-workers, and I want to ask you, Pastor. Let's say you have this fellow worker who just complains. Their second job is to complain. Like there's just that thing with them about complaining. And also there's another one also where he or she just wants to argue about anything and everything. Like is life this hard? How do you deal with people like that?
In leadership and management, you need all of them to come up to become a team.
Hey,
you need them. Leadership and management have a way of bringing every kind of people together in a team. If you have a team, you don't have those people, you can't be successful. Yes. Have you not noticed that there's no organization you get to that you not meet those kind of people?
Definitely.
You think the organization is sick to employ them? Or you think the organization does not have a way to fire them? Immediately they notice. But it's because they are all useful to the organization. Now this is it. Somebody who is always frustrated could have different reasons why they are frustrated. It could be a family issue. You don't believe me, that's the truth.
But okay, I'll still get to that because I wanted to also address the fact that you also told us that when you get to the job, your job is your job. Whatever issues you have, put it aside. But please go on, sir.
You see, let me tell you. If a man is frustrated from his home, everything he will be doing will reflect that. Several years ago, I worked somewhere, and there's this particular guy that always complain up and down, and I was very young then, so I was like, what's wrong with this man now? That you just complain everything people do. I realized that the man has been in the system for long. He has been due for promotion. And he's so good at the job, but he wasn't promoted. It's a very big organization. He wasn't promoted. And he can speak different grammar. I almost forget that I carry biro and paper to start writing down his grammar. So anytime he give me query, I'll give him back his grammar. But actually, he has been due for promotion. Some years later, I asked that, how is this person? So they told me he has become this. So I felt like then it can now become. So we have different reasons why people pull up such attitude. Somebody like me, what I do is I study people's weakness. Yeah, I'm telling you the truth today. If I see that, okay, you nag, this is the way you do, I just study your weakness. There's nobody you approach through their weakness that doesn't come down. It's not possible. It has never failed to work. Everybody have area of weaknesses. So when I study, that's me. That's what worked for me for over 10 years. If I study your weakness and I know your weakness, it's okay for me. I'm good. I'm not going to say, I don't say anything outside. It doesn't have to be bad weakness. You just need that, okay, this person, this is what he likes. This person, this is what he doesn't like. It could be in form of policy. It could be discipline. It could be in areas of talking. You just have to do what that person like you to do. Do you get it now? So I've always find those kind of people so easy to deal with along the line. At first, maybe a logger, they liked me at the end. Yeah, it has always been like that for me.
Sir, you've given some very spectacular tips on how to tackle a hostile work environment. But I want to speak from a person's perspective, an employee, maybe who has a boss that harsh criticism, harassment, and all of that, and you're not really in a position where you can say, okay, I'm not doing this job again, I quit. How can you, still manage that level of productivity? And you don't have an avenue to quit yet, but for the time being, how do I navigate that?
Go and read.
Okay.
You see, when I had issues with all these boss of it, I just spend my time reading. Because every organization, you always find that one boss. Right now, I still have. Yeah, I have. What do I do? One day, I wrote an email. And I copied all the management staff. And I put different English there. Now, what did the person say? The person said, utter an insulting word to me.
Okay.
The word was so insulting to my person. Even though he's like a direct supervisor, he's an internal control person. Should obviously report to the board. I felt like if I don't say anything, this is going to continue. And for me, I keep my principles. I keep it. So I wrote a mail with evidence. But in that mail, I still respect him. I still show high level of courtesy and respect. So I copied the MD, copied every management staff, and I sent it. You know what happened the next day? I did not greet him. He did not greet me either. Of course, he's my superior. He did not greet me. I did not greet him too. I avoided his office. Our office is beside. I just avoid his office. Why do I do that? Because I want him to see a kind of protest, what he has done. And when the MD came, the MD just looked at me, Grammar, and he just left. And the whole management staff, they were calm. Guess what? That was the last time he used that statement. So if I go and meet him for anything, if you want to be angry, you just say go, come back. So without insulting, I've said my mind. Until today, the respect is still there. Till today.
Interesting. I'm trying to see how to get the question because we have questions online. Is it on YouTube now? On Zoom, okay.
Oh, Zoom. Can you help us just
You will
send
get
it
it
to
again.
WhatsApp? Sir, could you help us copy and send the question?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So please, we are still up for questions, comments, and if you have anything to say, please, we are up for that as we navigate that. I was just about to get to the part, in terms of dealing with a boss that uses insults,
Harsh words.
with harsh words. Because I spoke with a friend of mine who on the 31st, he recently resigned, and it was because of this. He said the toxicity is just too much, that the boss will say this today, tomorrow will say another thing. Like, what are you saying exactly? The communication is crazy, and then to top it all off, he just insults anyone anyhow, and just talks to anybody anyhow. That can be really depressing,
Demoralizing.
demoralizing and
Yeah.
depressing.
Some
And-
organization does not have system. Sorry to cut you short.
Yeah.
Some organizations don't have system. Like they don't have a structure in such a way that could be you can hold anybody accountable. Even though that same boss, if he has another boss, they will not fire him because of you. Anyway, it has never worked anyway, except maybe sexual harassment with evidence. But that is insulting you. They can't do anything to it. They can't do anything to it. So there are some organizations that does not have structure. It doesn't have structure. So even if somebody should utter such words to you, but there's one thing I've learned too. No matter how difficult a boss is with insultive words, they look face. Believe me.
Really?
Believe me, yes. Believe me, they look face. If you present yourself like a duck, people will treat you like a duck. Believe me. Have you not find yourself in an organization that you see somebody, you call the person spirikuku, even if the person is pretending, how do you treat that person?
You don't touch that.
Thank you.
Maintain boundaries.
Just the-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Even if the person is what? Pretending. You treat that person according to the way he or she has presented him or herself. That's the way you treat that person.
Honestly, Pastor Lara, I think in Gen Z terms, you say avoid see finish. So
you.
when you are in an environment, you don't be too relaxed, and that people start crossing boundaries, you know.
You don't sell yourself too cheap for anything.
Before we get to this question, I would love you to talk about setting boundaries. Co-worker to, worker to worker and worker to your boss. How do you set healthy boundaries?
Thank you. Me, I'm a playful person. I can play. Trust me. Do you know how I play? I love to play. Yes. But you know what? The degree that I can play is that degree I can bullshit you immediately. I can switch. Just 1 second. I can switch immediately and tell you that what nonsense. I can switch immediately. So the only thing they say is, you can play, but don't get worked up. So when the staffs heard what I did to that person, everybody's afraid of. What do you think my colleague will do?
Because they were just.
A couple. So when I play, they see it as an opportunity. Do you get it? But the other side, do you know that I fought everybody, all my colleagues, they fought with me. You don't believe me. Till now, I think I still have one of them that did not still greet me today. Do you know why? Because when I got to the office, I saw a system I'm not cool with. But there's no way for me to change it, except I look at the ruling class. So I joined the ruling class a bit. And when they saw my skills, the skills is, we need it. So they gave me 2 small shaking power. And allow me free access to lead, to test run leadership. Let me use it that way. And you know what? All of them went against me. Why? When did you join? All of them at different time went against me. But you know what? I gave all of them one by one. And all of them do what? Now if they are coming to my office now, they know how to package themselves to come.
We're going to take this question, and we're hoping we're going to be able to round this off in a bit. This person is saying that, how do you handle a place of work that there are too much sentiments?
I was also trying to figure out.
It's directed to both of you, but let me start with Pastor Isaac. This person is asking that, how do you handle a place of work that there are too much sentiments?
Now, answering that question, I just want the person that asked the question to first of all check before you conclude that there is sentiment. Let me try to explain what I mean. Two of us, all right. Myself and Pastor here, you give us an assignment. And he's been able to do it. And you like the way he has done it. And you understand that this is what you want. And I've not been able to do it. If you begin to do something for him and you leave me behind, what will I say?
Sentiments.
No. This person is we are the same level 10, level 10, level 20, level 20, level whatever. But see what he's doing for him. Forgetting that an assignment is given. Pastor used to give us this illustration. He wants to do something in Lagos and he called his two sons. Do you remember the illustration?
Yes, sir.
Go and do this for me. And this one said, Daddy, I am busy. And the other said, okay, I will go. What will Pastor do? Pastor said, I will give him my car, my driver, money, everything he needs. But the other person, I can just give him money to survive for the day. So when you talk about there is sentiment, you have to look at it. Are you getting it? It happens in my place of work. When things happen, people will say, no, this is because that person like this person, that person. Forgetting that person that the boss has worked his way to that position through diligence and work. But sometimes in some places, there will be sentiment without any reason. In fact, there can't be any sentiment without any reason. It's either I like you, either you are beautiful, or you are handsome, or you are hardworking.
To get from you.
Or you are hardworking, or there is something I used to get from you. So for me to undo such a sentiment, just keep doing what you are good at and keep improving yourself and believing that what you are doing is right. Then one day you will be favored. Another person will say there is sentiment in this place.
Yeah, I think Pastor Kola has said everything. Okay, so when we were working at the same place before, I realized that Pastor Kola is always the talk of the organization. Trust me, I was like, this man, is this man so special? Trust me, we have difficulty. He just have a way to go up there and present it, and he packaged the thing and everything becomes sweet. So at the point, I just study him. I look up to him. I see the way he does his things. And do you know that after a while, I catch up too, and then he delegates me to on some task, and then I see that okay, this is the way this thing is done. I begin to join some committees too. So like he has rightly said, if two people come together, you do something very good. See, it's just normal reasoning. I'm going to call you again to come and do it. Why you that you are struggling with that? Will leave you to go and learn on the job now, so that you can be as useful to me like this person. So it's just as simple as that.
So, at the beginning of the conversation, one of the things you said was that we are meant to live out the Bible.
Yeah.
So, as an employee, as an employer, how are we meant to live out the Bible in the workplace?
You see, being a Christian, you have signed in for death warrant. That's what it means. Depend on the kind of sphere of influence you find yourself, you will know maybe your own death warrant is by bomb or by letter bomb. You will know. Now, why do I use this analogy? If you find yourself in a place that deals with contracts, you are in trouble. It will take God for you not to bend your hand. So that is maybe by letter bomb. If you find yourself in a financial institution, you are just 2 steps away from fraud. Yes, there's always that temptation. So it now depends on your conviction, your depth of conviction. If you find yourself in a school, the temptation is also different. Do you get it? So living the Bible is according to where you find yourself. All the scriptures of the Bible is not applicable to one person. As much as we know that we have to read the Bible, but there are some parts that favors people that people leave out. For example, now if you want to talk about politics, leadership, and governance, who is the first person that comes to your mind? Daniel, the book of Daniel chapter 6. Again, who comes to your mind? Joseph, the book of Genesis. Joseph comes to your mind. Who again comes to your mind? Esther, So that aspect, you can decide to leave that aspect. That okay, I find myself in politics, in governance, in leadership. You leave that aspect of the Bible out. That the Bible says Daniel was very excellent. You know, you can leave that out, depend on where you find yourself. But the expression of Christianity is found in what you do, even when nobody's watching you.
What you do when no one is watching you.
Yes, that's what we call true Christianity. Not when I'm watching. I'm here speaking English now. You don't know what I will do underneath. So the true expression is what you do. And do you know one thing about what you do in the secret? What you do in the secret always amplify.
Yes.
It will come outside. For about 6 years or more, I began to study on leadership.
Wow.
Actively, I started studying leadership 2019. He paid my first entrance to GLS here in this ministry.
Wow.
Wow.
He paid it
Wow.
when everything was down for me. He paid it. He lived out an aspect of Christianity that, even though I'm a man of God, I love that aspect. And I felt that this person is somebody who you should move closer to.
Okay, so I have just one quick question before we wrap up for the day. You mentioned that if employee A has proven himself to be good at his job, of course, subsequent times, I will always point to him and say, okay, I want you
Definitely.
to. So I, as employee B now, I've realized that, okay, I've been playing the victim for too long. I've been blaming hostile work environments when in fact I have not been a good employee. How can I bounce back from that negative name that I've made for myself and become someone that can be trusted?
Okay, so my wife used to have that excuse before. She always blame things. And you know one thing, I said something that made her angry one day. I said, I can never recommend you for a job.
Wow.
Yes, that's true.
The harsh truth.
She was crazily mad. She was so mad that she said, it is only you that don't believe in me. Every other person, I've said every other person who believes in you are mediocrity, including your boss.
Whoa.
And she was mad again. I said, it's only you that know everything in this life. Now, she's becoming the best version of herself. A few days ago, she just went to market. She bought like 3-4 books at home. I said, what do you want to use this for? She said, I want to read it, of course.
Ooh.
Books that I know that is very expensive. Talk. It's cheap. Determination is the key.
Man.
So if my employer sees that, I'm putting in efforts to do better, of course, hopefully they will tap into that and bring it.
Man, it's been such an amazing journey. I'm just trying to get my my mind back because a lot has been said. We learned about the fact that when you say hostile work environment, you have to be really clear about what you mean about hostile environment. We learned that the idea is to be able to live whatever part of the Bible that you are in. So if you're in the government environment, you are meant to live out the part of the Bible that speaks to the government. If you work in a financial institution, you are meant to go deep into the scriptures to look at the people that lived good lives, lived godly lives, and they were productive at their industry. Learn from that, pick up principles, and then live out that element. And I think one thing that stood out for me from today's conversation was that was two things. Number one thing, just be very good at what you do.
Oh, I was just about to say that. Oh, you took my point. Okay.
Just be very good at what you do. There's hardly anyone that can.
You can't deny excellence.
Exactly.
Basically.
Be good at what you do, and Christianity has taught us that it's about what you are doing when no one is looking at you. So for me, those are the two. What about you?
Okay, I think what stood out to me was the issue of politics, because I feel like as Christians we try to do, oh no, I'm not into that. I'm not trying to, they say play games per se, but it's got to a point where you can't run away from those type of things forever. You have to understand the dynamics of where you are, and see what favors you, see what you can do. That's not really against your morals, of course. We're not telling you to do negative things. But it's good to understand the environment, understand the dynamics in your workplace, and work up with that. So that's what stood out to me.
Man, so please, we are still available to receive your questions. It might not be for today. You might send us a message on social media as regarding the conversation tonight. Maybe you are currently watching it in another day, another time, and you want to jump on the conversation. Please, we would love to receive questions, comments, and we'd love to engage with you on the conversation. But special thanks to Pastor Lamdi Olaniwaju.
Thank you so much, sir.
It was great, tapping into your wealth of knowledge and years of experience. Our very own Pastor Isaac, always always coming through. Thank you very much.
Sir.
And
Thank you.
yes, and of course the conversation is still on throughout the month of January, how to thrive in a hostile work environment. And next week, I believe, is going to be awesome.
Yeah, so please, as we always say, like, share, subscribe. If this session has blessed you, you can always share the link with other people and they can watch. I want to go back home and watch. Because I feel like there's some parts I need to, I'm in a new workplace now, so there are things I need to understand properly, especially as a copper in Ibadan. So,
Great.
I have to go back to that. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you so much to our guests. And
bye. So see you next time.